why don't we start there? I'm going to turn the tables now, and I'm actually going to ask some questions, if that's all right.
Yeah, sounds great. Sounds great.
But it's really great to have you guys here, and I know who you guys are, but maybe the audience doesn't. So why don't we just go around the room and everybody kind of introduce themselves? We'll start over here with Kitty.
I am Kitty D. I am originally from Northeast Minneapolis, right down the road, and from the Kingdom of Prince, if you will. And I began my performance career. I actually dropped out of college to become a performer when I was 19, and I started in a Prince tribute band that is still running strong here in Minneapolis. I played the role of Apollonia. And
which band is that?
That's Ovation.
Wow.
Yep, Chase and Ovation.
I've seen Chase and Ovation.
Chase and Ovation. Great cats, awesome time. And then ended up getting married. Took a 10-year hiatus from the stage right around, I think it was early March of 2020. I randomly went on Craigslist and found this band that was looking for a female singer. And I was like, I'm getting back in the game. I need it. I crave it. I got to get back on stage because, as we all know, when we're on stage, it's something that we were made to do and we love to do. And we love to share that vibration and energy and frequency with people. So went into an audition. It was me and 3 60-year-old gentlemen. Their name was Mary Jane and the Entourage. And I tried out, auditioned, got the gig, and then the next day is the day we ended up going into lockdown for COVID.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So thankfully, the bassist, rest in peace, Dana Isaacs, thankfully he had a big enough garage studio space that we could literally social distance practice. So as soon as the bars and everything opened up, we're like, let me in there. And after being in the band with them for about a year or so, I was like, hey guys, like it's like Valentine's Day. And can you give me a gift? Like, can we be Kitty and the Entourage instead? Because people call me Mary Jane and I'm not digging that. So they're like, yeah, sure, cool. Kitty and the Entourage was born. And then, unfortunately, 60-year-old men end up having health problems, and rest in peace, Paul Booth. He ended up getting a very sad form of cancer, passed away. But while I figured that out, or while we were learning that news, Mr. Brian Tooney over here gave me a call and he's like, hey, would you fill in for us? And I was like, sure, I'd love to. Filled in, and the rest is history. Just, it's been such a blast, and so grateful to be back on stage after a break, but back on stage with these cats is a huge part of it. So I've been a performer, dancer, choreographer. That's where I started, was dancing. And then I found out one day that I could sing, and here I am.
Cool.
That's my story.
Nice.
Yeah,
I've seen a few moves. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got a couple.
I
got a couple in my back pocket. Thank you. Yeah, it's fun.
Awesome. So many moves.
I'm teaching you the moves now, Shoots.
I know. I love it.
Shoots got some moves now.
So I'm Brian, and we'll go with the nickname Tooney because we have a Brian, and a Ryan all in the band, and it just gets confusing. So we'll just go with Tooney because that was kind of a nickname I got in college, and then that was kind of, I changed my name to that sort of with my first original bands. I was Brian Tooney. Because you had to have a stage name to be cool, right? And so then I did that for a while. Then my wife and I had my son, and I took a little hiatus as well. And then BC on the bass, Brian Schminiak, was in the original band Consensual with me, and just gave me a call out of the blue and was like, hey, I'm starting this 90s tribute. It's going to be real chill, real relaxed. It's like, you want to jump into it and be one of the singers and guitar players? They said, it's actually exactly what I've been wanting to do for the last 5 years. So I would love to come and jam with you. And yeah, and the rest was kind of born from that.
Okay. So real chill and real relaxed does not sound like what I have seen on stage. So obviously it's changed a little bit from there.
Yeah, it was originally supposed to be.
I'm actually surprised he has a shirt on today.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed and surprised.
Right.
I would be.
I know you're
too.
disappointed. I know, Will. I know you're disappointed.
Well, and it's funny because, and when I say chill, the initial concept was like, yeah, we'll just play like 2 shows a month, just have fun, just relax, whatever. And then that turned into, well, you know what, we got some opportunities to play this show and this show, and then it was, in the summer times it was maybe 3 or 4, and then we got an agent, and then we just started it just started to take off a little more, and it was like becoming a little more lucrative. And then I think we all just arrived to the point where the lineup was on the same page, where we're like, hey, there's an opportunity to kind of make a nice run it doing something special and fun. And so then now the summers are 7, 8, 9 shows a month, but it works out well. I think we all handle it pretty well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, man.
All right.
Who the hell are you?
I'm Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
Ryan Schutz. I am from Cottage Grove, Minnesota, which is on the east side. I currently live in Stillwater. I got into music, well, let's say my parents forced me to be in church choir. That was the first thing. And after that, I was kind of really drawn to the 80s glam scene, and I really wanted to be like Ricky Rocket. So I became a drummer, and that was the first instrument that I played. So did that through basically junior high, more or less. And I did a drum solo at my high school talent show, and I ended up getting like second place. I had to play in front of the entire school. I did this drum solo, threw my sticks. Everybody just went crazy. And then all of a sudden, these two guys in my class, Daffod and Zach, they were in the Linoleums. They were a 2-person band, and they said, "Hey, you want to be in our band? You want to be our drummer?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we played some coffee shops back in high school, and I remember one time we got kicked off the stage because I think Zach, who was singing in the band at the time, swore on stage, and they kicked him out. So we got tossed.
Back when you couldn't swear.
I think we got like $20 for the gig. It was so fun. Like, it was super cool.
$20 is a big thing.
I mean,
back then.
absolutely, for a high school kid playing music. I mean, you would have done it for free, right?
Right.
And then basically, after that, I always had in my head to be a singer in a band, like throughout the whole time, to be a front person. And I did a lot of karaoke through those years, and I was in different contests and got some money for different performances over the years. And when I moved to Stillwater in 2022, it was actually a pretty tough time for me, like mentally. But I kind of got through it and met some really cool, supportive people in the neighborhood. And kind of one of the persons, Eric, he's one of my really good friends, got me back into music like really hard. He's like, "Come on over, let's sing karaoke. Let's go to karaoke night." And that was at Ziggy's because we're right downtown. So, and then after a while, this was about 2.5 years ago. In fact, today is my 2-year anniversary of auditioning for Gen X.
Wow.
So yeah, I just figured that out today.
dope.
So yeah. And then so as I was going to these karaoke nights, I saw that they had the Ziggy's Jams. This was about October, I think. And I was
Still
like,
in 2022?
23.
23.
Yep.
Okay.
So I started seeing, I was like, oh, it'd be cool. I'm going to start doing that. So, and I started taking voice lessons at the same time, and got up on stage November 1st, 2023 was my first performance doing Mr. Brownstone. And from there, it was just like every single time there was a jam, I was like, I'll do 2 songs, anything. It doesn't matter if I don't know it, I'll do it. And just kind of challenge myself to learn new tunes every time. And
wow. You went from voice lessons to Brownstone.
yeah,
That's
right.
like-
I just love
like
all that stuff,
giant
man.
cojones, man.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
So, but and then, auditioned for another band, didn't get in February. It was
Grateful for that.
It was, well, the thing was it wasn't really like, it's a fit thing too, because think about, like, I never was in a band as a singer, and I would have had to take the whole entire load of all the songs. And I think that would have been a really big challenge for me.
Sure.
And then, of course, going to the Gen X audition, I was like, there's no way that I'm getting in this band. I'm just doing this for practice. Like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to get some practice to do an audition. And lo and behold, the next day, Toonie sent me a message on Facebook on Sunday the 7th and said, hey, he's like, we got a couple paid auditions for you. We're going to do a wedding at the end of the month. And we got this Doghouse show on May 4th. And the rest is history. And yeah, it's just been a great ride. I'm really, really, really happy to be in this position and be with these guys. And the cool part is that, I think I have the least amount of experience, like, in a band of the group. And, these guys have so much experience and just made me feel really, really comfortable right away, and just kind of worked with me. Cause, to be honest, when I came in, I still wasn't, sounding great, and I was still learning, and I still am learning. I feel like I'm a student all the time. And, that's the type of mentality I have in the band. And these guys have just been super supportive and super cool. It's, and I just can't say enough about that part of it is, to let me flourish and kind of be, make my own mistakes a little bit here and there, and then, become where I am now. So I'm a lot more comfortable, and I'm almost at 100 shows with these guys. So
nice.
We love you too, Shoot.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I love you guys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You're still on a drum set.
I have 2 drum sets in storage. I have a Tama drum set, a Swing Star with some Zildjian cymbals, and I have an electronic drum set too. I am moving into a 2-bedroom apartment in June, so I'm thinking I might bring the old electronic drums in there just to bang on it a little bit.
Bust them out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, and I know you're a drummer, so.
I am a drummer,
Yeah.
And I'm a singer stuck behind the drums, too.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm a terrible singer, but I would love to. I kind of have that. It's funny because I have that same vision of myself. I want to be on the front of the stage at some point,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's fun.
So
Yeah.
You're my current hero.
Well, I think what's unique about this band in particular too is that, not a lot of people do the concept. So if people don't know, we're full costumes and probably do 40 some costume changes a show or whatever. And there's a lot of good male and female singers, but not a lot of them are willing to really like dive in and like become a character.
Yeah.
And that's what's so amazing about like Kitty and Ryan in particular is you can be, we have this debate all the time. Like you can be good musicians and musicianship can take you so far and it's awesome. And a lot of people, do love just going and hearing the top-notch musicianship that they can hear. But there's this whole other entertainment factor that we feel needs to be there to really get to the highest level that you can achieve. And there's not many people that would be willing to do what Ryan is able to do and pull it off. And so any inexperience he has, I think, is just overcome in spades just by his persona and by his willingness to dive into roles, I'll call them, right?
Yeah.
And be Eddie Vedder and then be, Ricky Martin and then be James Hetfield and you know what I mean?
Alan
Like
Jackson.
Garth Brooks.
those aren't
I
necessarily
think it's
easy things to do.
Lemmy that said that, nobody wants to go out to a show and see their neighbor playing a guitar. You want to go out and see a fucking alien life form.
Exactly.
You want to be
Exactly.
entertained.
Smart,
You want to be
Lemmy.
pulled into it. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that quote.
But that's my favorite part of what we do, honestly, is the opportunity to play so many different roles. Britney Spears, Barbie.
Oh,
when we got on as Barbie, people, I feel like their heads pop off, because your upgrade of Ken's costume,
Well,
mind blowing.
It's pretty fun to play with that fur coat.
But during Shoop, you have the swag. During Shania Twain, you have the class. During all of these, the pop princess Britney, you get to put on a mask and be someone different. And I think that's such it's not, you don't see it very often because you don't get to see costume bands per se.
Right.
So I really think that's such a different and fun and exciting frequency that we can bring and an energy all on its own.
A lot of people will say, God, you guys, that seems like a lot of work. Like doing all those
That we
costume
get
changes.
to
And
do.
it's like,
We get
yeah,
to
but
do
it's
it.
super fun.
Yeah.
Like if you go in with the mindset of that's what our show is and we're putting on a show, not just doing a gig. We're trying to think of it as like we're really trying to put on a show. It's just like, yeah, well, of course we would do costume changes and you know what I mean? It's part of the whole bit,
The bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me how the bit began, because obviously you guys didn't start out doing it quite like this, right?
Right.
It's birthed into this.
Somewhat, yeah. So VC had the concept of this whole thing, and right from the gun, we did do costumes, right?
Okay.
But it's just a different game now. with Kitty and Ryan, it just went so far and above and beyond like what it was in the
Because
origins.
Is the 7th iteration of this band
Yeah,
with people coming in and out of it. This is I believe the 7th version.
one, yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
yeah. So
So how long has the band itself been around then?
so that's been 4.5-ish to 5 years.
I think this
somewhere in
might be
there.
the 5th summer.
I
Yeah.
think so.
So kind of like
Coming
right
up.
after COVID, this
Yep.
thing kind of came together.
Yep,
okay?
yep. That's what Brian had dreamt it up during COVID. And
Okay.
then I think we were kind of starting rehearsals.
Brian's our dreamer.
Yeah.
BC's the dreamer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right out of COVID is kind of when we started the rehearsals and started kind of gearing up for those first shows.
And so is Brian kind of really the brainchild?
Yes.
Is he still kind of driving a lot of the things that happen, or is a lot of creative juices from everybody
I think it's
in it now?
I think it's kind of evolved into a cool place where everybody takes on kind of different components of it. You know, BC's still kind of the boss, the engine, you know, the CEO, I guess, if you will.
Sure.
But, you know, I have a marketing background, so I've kind of taken on a lot more like the marketing end and
Sure.
work a lot with our agent. And these guys, Kitty and Ryan, are definitely like big on the choreography and the costumes and the show elements. Andy's just, you know, he's just a phenom on guitar, but he's very
He's a numbers guy.
he's a very good numbers guy. Ryan's actually
Ryan's a great
really,
numbers
really
guy.
good numbers guy.
Very organized.
Yeah.
Ryan is so organized.
So everybody's kind of fallen into different roles.
It's so much
and
more of
takes
a team
pieces.
game now than I think when it started.
For sure.
Because, you know, BC is great at what he does, and it's so much better when you all throw your hat in the ring rather than just following. You know, we're all on the train rather than just one person pulling us along.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the book Good to Great, if you've ever read it. You know, get the right people on the bus. You know, once you have the right people on the bus, you can really go quite far.
Go round
with
and
it.
round.
Yep.
Hell.
Yep.
Wheels on the bus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you guys aren't covering that, you're missing an opportunity right there.
Well, that's
Right.
going on the set list. We're going to pull that out as the final surprise, but thanks.
When we see you at a show, we're gonna
Wheels
pull it out.
on the bus
so.
go on.
Just
I
for
might
you.
come to every show now just to force you guys to have to play that, Ryan.
Yeah.
Awesome. So take me back to little you. Like what got you into music in the first place?
So it's interesting because I kind of rebelled against it at first because I didn't think it was cool right away, right?
You were so punk. You were rebelling against punk.
My mom put me in piano lessons. I was like, no, right? And then I was in choir and I was in all the plays, and I did it because like I just felt like, fine, I'll do it. I'm decent at it or whatever. But like I rebelled. You know, I didn't really think it was that great. And then I auditioned for a scholarship, and I got a vocal scholarship in college. So then I joined their concert choir, and then I had to take voice lessons as part of the whole scholarship deal. And then after like halfway through the first semester, I lost the scholarship because I didn't want to be in the main choir because I wanted to walk onto the track team. So I walked on the track team, went down to the other lower choir, lost my scholarship, everything, because I still was like, it's not the cool thing. Like, it's not what I want to be. And then my roommate had a guitar that he wanted to learn, and his little stoner buddy had given him his guitar and he just couldn't figure it out. And so I started picking it up, and I was like, boy, I just like became obsessed with trying to like figure it out and unlock it. And then once I knew how to play, like, I think Polly by Nirvana was the first song that I learned to play the whole thing through and sing. It's like, I can do this. I can actually play some of these songs, which is what was great about the 90s, because you could actually play some of these songs. Like 80s, I couldn't handle some of these crazy guitar licks and, you know, listen to Extreme. I couldn't play those kind of solos. I'm like, I can't do that. But the 90s was like, yes, you can. Here's some power chords, Mr. Green Day, right? You know, and so then I got like obsessed with wanting to be in a band, and then I moved here, Minneapolis, started an acoustic duo.
Moved from where?
Moved from Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls.
Yep,
Okay.
so went to college in Sioux Falls. And then a buddy from there had moved up to Minneapolis as well, so we started an acoustic duo, turned that into a band, and then that went from a couple different iterations of original bands, and then I joined a few cover bands in there, and then kind of led to this one all those years later.
All right. So interesting that you came from Sioux Falls, because the concept has come up that, Minneapolis, St. Paul has such a great music scene, and it really is like maybe kind of like center mass for the upper Midwest, except for maybe Chicago. What do you guys think about that? Anybody can answer.
I would agree. The thing that I think is interesting is I remember being in Sioux Falls, and it was a big deal. Like, we'd pick a time, like every other month or something, when there'd be a show, and it was always like a big deal to come to Minneapolis and go to First Ave to see like a show. I remember seeing Everclear there. I remember seeing Third Eye Blind there. I remember seeing, like, it was always like, yeah, let's go to the Mecca, right? Let's go to the universe, the center of the musical universe, and all these great bands that come out of here. So I definitely think that there's like this huge rep of Minneapolis being this big music hotbed, and maybe it was more earlier. when you had Husker Du and you had, Semisonic and all these different bands coming out. But I still think people generally regard this as like, case in point, a friend of mine has a son and he lived in Sioux Falls, and all him and his buddies, his band buddies, moved to the cities so they could try to give it a run.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's still seen as like this is the place if you want to give it a go,
The mini apple, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Kitty, why don't you give your take on that? You grew up in
Yeah, I grew up around here, and everywhere I go, when I say Minneapolis and bring up music and what I do, they're like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense," because that's where music around this area. That's where music is, and where it's flowing from, and where it's thick, and where you can really plug into what you want in sense of music, right? Like you were saying, Husker Du, and of course Prince and Bob Dylan. I mean,
Right.
there's some big names that came from here and big shoes to fill. But here you really can find some amazing venues. Obviously, the venues have changed throughout the years, but we still have First Ave, and we always hopefully will have First Ave. So I loved it. I always have. I always will. Grateful for it. Grateful to be a Minneapolis, Minnesotan. Yeah.
Yeah, there.
Yeah, there.
You know.
You betcha.
Could you imagine like if First Ave was going to close? Because I know that like I think there's, what's the name of it? There's a famous place that's getting ready to close. I know Acadia is possibly going out of business. Not the place that I'm thinking of, but I mean, there's some small stages or so medium-sized venues. But if First Ave, it's almost like a, it's like a place that
It's cornerstone.
It's a holy place.
cornerstone. Yeah,
Cornerstone,
thank you. I was just
100%,
trying to think of a good
No,
word
you got
there.
it.
And
A holy
yeah.
place. Yes, it is.
It's on a corner. It's on a corner somewhere. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The corner.
What do you think? What do you like? How have you?
I don't know if I have a high or strong opinion, but I would say I don't know what the quote is, but there's a Prince quote, something about the weather and the fact that it's
cold
so
it keeps
cold.
bad people away.
There you go. That's
the
the
bad
one, and
people
I
out.
was thinking about like the fact that there's a general good population of people, and you're just the winters are long, and what are you gonna do? Like you play music, probably you get really good at it.
Or
So,
support. Either
yeah.
play it or support it.
Right, exactly. So that's my take on it. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like we get a lot of great opportunities to see great acts in this area, and I'm thankful for that. I've seen a number of different concerts. I can't even think of all of them. Like local musicians, like we were talking about, the Dylans, the Princes, and the Suburbs is another one that I really
good
love
one.
to see.
Good one. Chan Bowling.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so fun. And the New Standards, I've seen them too. And it's cool. It's really cool. So
And I would say this too, like, take any other like mid kind of level market in the 5-state area, and we could call it Des Moines, you can call it Cedar Rapids, you could call it Fargo, whatever. You might have a handful of some good clubs in those places, but there's not many. I mean, like the Doghouse is like a national size stage. I mean, it's massive. Bogarts has a 3-tiered stage. You know what I mean? It's like there's opportunities to play on stages here, and there's not just one in town. Like there's multiple that you can really, play on a big high level stage with big high level sound systems and have rooms that hold 500 people. And I mean, like that. There's not a lot of opportunities outside of Minneapolis within, a long stone's throw that will provide you that opportunity. So I totally
Great
get
point.
that.
I feel like Minneapolis like respects music and receives music very well. Where, like you were saying, with all of these stages and all these opportunities, plus you have people that really want to see it be successful, and we're all pulling for the same thing, which is why you have great production, why you have great sound systems. So Minneapolis on its own and the energy that it provides, I think, is a really good resting place for what music can bring to the world. Love Minneapolis. I don't know if you got that yet.
she's getting teary.
I've got the whole
I
like
think
a
we're all-
tattoo
we're
of
all getting a little
612,
teary up over
like
here.
the 612 on my back, the whole skyline.
Is that right?
Yeah, the cherry and the spoon. Yeah, everything. Stone Arch Bridge.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So, Ryan, what's the album or the song that just changed your trajectory really made you feel like you wanted to get into music or made you feel like you loved music?
Oh, I mean, man, this is tough.
No pressure.
It's a
No
tough
pressure,
question.
shooter.
I mean, my mom and dad had a ton of records, and I would just always love to throw the record player on. And it was, just all kinds of different stuff, from like the poppy stuff to, more modern, to like the Bee Gees or something, disco. And I loved all that stuff too. I think from the standpoint of like being a performer and like the whole like just big stage presence, I love the glam stuff. And I remember my dad probably had the first CD player ever made. It was like, I think it was 86 or 87 he had one. And he bought like a couple of CDs, or he had a couple of sampler CDs that had big orchestra, like the Superman theme, and we just blast that on those giant JBL speakers. We had 2 of them, and whatever we had on it would vibrate and fall off. And, my mom would be like, were you guys listening to music? Because there's stuff on the floor, the stuff would vibrate off. But I remember my dad bought Open Up and Say Ah, like the Poison CD, and I just remember just blasting that as a kid. I don't know. I know
Is there a song on that album that if you listen to it now, it just takes you right back to that space?
I just remember the first song, Love on the Rocks, was just like a great, the guitar riff at the beginning was just like, you turn that thing right up and it just blasts. It's so good. So, but it's hard to really pinpoint, but I just remember that like was like the first taste of like that really heavy stuff. Again, it's not super heavy, of course. I'd go heavier now, but to me, being let's say 8-10 years old at the time, that was cool. So, and it was so cool such that I remember we had this opportunity in class. Our choir teacher had us do a musical, and everybody's choosing like normal musicals. And then I decided that we're going to do Poison the musical. And it had nothing to do with obviously musicals, but I was just so like intrigued with just that whole big sound. Like I don't know. That was
Is that our next project?
just,
Shooter?
yeah,
Poison
right.
the
I was
musical.
The musical.
But I am a child of the 90s though. So like I remember seeing the whole like, am I ever going to get off glam rock? No way. There's no way, because 93X was playing it all the time. And then all of a sudden they went off the air for 2 days. They played End of the World as We Know It by REM. And then all of a sudden it was 93 The Edge. And then you start hearing like the grunge stuff. And it's like, okay. And I remember my buddy, one time we were at a sleepover and he's like, hey, I got you. You gotta listen to this. So he hands me over the Nevermind album and plays it. And I'm like, this is really good. And I was, from then on, I was pretty much off of glam because I thought that was so good.
Nirvana changed you too, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Changed the whole
100%.
I
yeah.
just read The Storyteller by Dave Grohl on spring break.
Oh yeah,
I
that's a
like
good one.
I'm almost finished with it and I'm mind blown by that
Yeah.
story. So you're not the only one who had their lives changed by that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can still remember MTV. I mean, seeing I came home one day and dudes pushing the mop around, and suddenly it started like, holy shit, this just blew my mind. So different.
Yep.
Cool. Well, let's pass this one around. It's such a great question.
Sure.
So what's like the song, the album, just that moment?
Yeah, it is a great question. And I'll kind of track it this way. So where I grew up in Northeast Iowa, like there wasn't a lot of music exposure. So I was kind of into what I heard in the radio. And at the time, I remember like my first CDs were like Paula Abdul and stuff, right? And like Bobby Brown and
That's
and
all
that
right,
stuff,
man.
right?
Straight up now, tell
Yeah.
me.
The Crisscross and Alice in Chains Dirt were the first 2 albums I owned at the same
wow.
That's the
time.
pendulum swing.
But that is the 90s. You got
Yep.
both. I mean,
that was actually my divergence. I had to choose
Yeah.
a path in life at that point.
Yeah. So then I had a buddy. Who all of a sudden got me into like Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses and all that stuff. And I loved it. But still, like in my mind, I couldn't fully relate as a musician, as a performer. So I hadn't like really transformed yet, because I'm like, I can never sing like Axl. I can never play like Slash. And then I went to college, and then all of a sudden, I think actually the one band that might have really flipped it for me was the Gin Blossoms, because I remember that fit my vocal range so well. And I remember like driving in a car, and singing at the top of my lungs, like "Till I Hear It From You," and all the and it was so melodic and beautiful, and it like sparked this weird nostalgia, like comfortable feeling. And I thought, gosh, that's really popular. I could maybe do this. Like I could maybe sing and play and make music, and that's like accessible to me. So then from there, I got really, really into Third Eye Blind, and I got into like Tonic and Matchbox 20 and all those kind of like pop rocky bands from the 90s, and that's really when I like dove full in and just like immersed myself in music, I think.
Isn't it wonderful what a car ride can do for
Yes.
great music?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, guess who's up?
Thank you for the question.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I've had much more time than these guys to think about it. Going through the Rolodex of all my, when I was really, really young, Milli Vanilli was my jam.
Yes.
And when I found out, and when my mom, I remember she sat me down, like it was a big deal. She sat me down and she's like, "I'm sorry, honey. They're not real." And of course, my world just ended. And I do very specifically remember getting my first cassette tape was "However Do You Want Me, However Do You Need Me," and just listening to it and dancing to it and realizing that music, you could dance and just it swallowed me whole. And that's the best way that I can it enveloped me. And after Milli Vanilli, I was a very big Paula Abdul fan too, by the way. But for some reason, when I found Prince, and I know my story always goes back to Prince, like my mom and dad's very first date was the Purple Rain concert of 1984.
Wow.
Yeah. So without that man, I don't know if I'd be sitting here talking to you. And it always goes back to Prince. And his androgyny pulled me in, and his presence pulled me in. And then, of course, when you find out he's from Minneapolis, right where you are growing up, you're like, okay, I'm down.
So the music got you first before
The
you
music
really
got
even
me.
Absolutely. That he was
Absolutely.
from here.
Yeah,
Interesting.
100%. 100%.
Wow.
Because my mom listened to it all the time, and I'm listening to Dirty Mind when I'm like 4 years old. Just, when I think about you, babe. Of course, I wasn't singing it like that when I was 4, but I was jamming to it. Sexuality, all of that whole album. And watching him be his android, like I do drag as Prince now. I do a drag king bit as Prince, and it's just so amazing how it always comes back around. And then of course when I got that Ovation gig, I was like, are you serious right now? Because it's right place, right time. But I feel like and my dad's also a drummer, my grandpa was a drummer, so rhythm and music and the beat just has always been in my blood. And I literally, like I said, when I first heard, when you hear the right music for the first time, it just washes over you. And I was like, well, I'm stuck now. This is what I know I need to do somehow, some way. I never learned an instrument. My nails are too long for the guitar. I wasn't really into the piano, didn't want to sit behind something. And when I started doing dancing and tap shoes is where I found like an instrument that I could actually play with my feet, obviously, and started doing choreography. And like I mentioned earlier, I didn't know that I could sing until maybe like 5th, 6th grade when I was Beethoven. I had short hair. They called me Christopher, like I was a little boy. and I remember my mom used to listen to classical music because she has a very eclectic library, and I got obviously immersed in all of it. But I remember playing the role of Beethoven and learning I could sing, and then just took it from there. That was that. Yeah.
It sounds like playing characters is just a common.
That's funny you say that,
common
sir.
thing.
As I look forward to putting out solo things, I'm like, I don't even know what the character looks like. I don't even know what to do when I'm not playing a character. But you're absolutely right. I've played characters almost my entire life. That's been my job. And I love it. I'm so grateful for it. So this band, Gen X, when they asked me to do it, and they're like, would you do costumes? And I was like, will I?
Come check out my closet.
Yeah, no, I have an entire costume closet. As a costume person, you never throw anything away because who knows
Right.
if Cher is going to need that in 2024. Like, I don't know. And there it is. And there's Cher. It's really great. So the costumes really put it over the edge for me. Not only am I a 90s baby, so all of this is such nostalgic jams for me, but the costumes put me over the edge where I feel like this band was meant for me, and I was meant for it.
That's really nice. Yeah. Or you guys definitely put it over the edge for the audience too. It's a great show to watch.
Which is also what I think is kind of cool about it is that, some bands, you have everybody that kind of likes one genre, right? So you end up playing like that genre. And we try to pride ourselves on being like, we're going to be this genre bending group. Like we're going to go from Garth Brooks into Metallica into crisscross into whatever, right? Soft pop rock, Goo Goo Dolls, Oasis, whatever. And
Do you guys do crisscross?
Well,
coming up.
I don't know that
Teaser,
I don't know that I heard that.
now that you
And wheels
asked,
on the bus
Yeah.
go round. Wow.
Yeah, you got a little sneak peek right here in the podcast. What's coming up? But everybody's got these different backgrounds. You know, like Andy is late 20s now.
he's 28, I think.
28,
Yeah, he's the
yeah.
youngest cat out of all of us,
And
for
he
sure.
he rips 80s riffs like you wouldn't believe, right? And like BC, he's into like some
Underground
crazy
punk.
math rock
Wow.
kind of stuff. Like, you know, he's in Fugazi and all this stuff. You got Kitty with the hip, you know, kind of the R&B.
I was more in vogue,
Yep.
Salt and Pepper, TLC growing up.
Yep. Peter, the drummer, is very, very hip hop oriented. Loves hip hop. Loves 90s hip hop. Like I said, I'm kind of a pop rock guy. Ryan's a big glam rock. Like it actually fits really well with the concept we do.
And that's also something that I really enjoy is it's not just a show or, you know, we're trying to create a nostalgic experience for people.
Absolutely.
We're trying to create, you know, if you don't like one of the songs that's playing, just stick around for 2 or 3 more because we're moving to a different genre and everything will be okay and you're going to recognize it. Hopefully that's the goal is you're going to recognize it, sing to it, remember some things, get some heartstrings pulled. And that's the goal is to just really envelop people in nostalgia because, you know, who doesn't remember and want to go back to those times in prom or their first kiss or who knows, but
Our Grooves in the Heart. Man.
Yeah,
That song gets me every time.
yes.
Dun, 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 dun,
Well, we'll
dun,
never
dun.
take it off the set list just for you, man.
You're gonna take it off.
No, I said
No,
we'll never, we never will.
No.
Just
Oh,
for you.
oh,
We'll always stay on
Like,
for now.
man, you gave me 2 new songs, and
This
now you're
one's
gonna
for
take this one
Will.
off. Yeah. All right, I like it. Well, cool, guys. So I always like to wrap this podcast up with the same question. And if you've done your research, which it sounds like maybe you have, I always ask the same thing: who should be my next guest? And each of you can pick a couple people.
I got my person as I was thinking about this on the drive up here. I think it would be fascinating to hear the story of Kat Perkins.
Ah, okay.
Kat, so our drummer Peter played with Kat for a while, and I knew Kat from way back when she was in Scarlet Haze, which was in like a hard rock and alternative band. And then she went from that, and then she was on The Voice,
Yeah.
and she did well on The Voice, and then she came back, and then she just had a very interesting journey, and she's still doing it at a high level, obviously, and that's her career.
Toured with Kid Rock.
Yeah, exactly. And so she's had a lot of neat things that she's done, and I think she'd have a really great perspective and insights and stories about the music industry as a whole.
Nice. Cool. Well, I will give it a shot. We'll see what happens.
I
I need to turn these lights down. Your tan is getting really, really strong.
I've seen some. I've had the privilege of living in Stillwater, and I get to see those dinner shows at the Freight House the last few years. And I'm always just impressed with Mick Sterling. I don't know if you ever had him on here before, but
I haven't. No, I've heard the name, but I don't,
he
I don't know that
does
I know the
a
person.
number of different tribute bands. He's just so good as a front person. So I think that would be an opportunity.
What tribute bands is he? part
He
of?
does Springsteen,
Okay.
Joe Cocker.
Okay.
There's a number of them. I can't even think of all, but
Huey Lewis, I think.
Peter's played with them too. So, and
Okay.
Walter Powell, who's been, has drummed with us too,
Mm-hmm.
and Hairball. And the other one, when you said Kat Perkins, I was thinking Shaylo Lee too. Shaylo has also played with Mick and his wife Kate, and I've talked to her after a couple of shows, and I know she hustles. I mean, she's got she'll play 5-6 shows a week, and so I think those are 2 people that I would recommend anyway.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Over to you.
I remember saying Chan Poling earlier in the episode. If you could get him on here, I would listen to that all day long. Also, Michael Bland would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
I would love to hear from behind the drum set of the NPG what that felt and looked like. Goodness, Chris Hockey.
I was gonna
Chris
say, I'll give
Hockey
you our
would be
boy
great.
Chris
Hawk.
Hockey, too,
Shout out
yeah.
to Hawk. Hey, bud. Maybe even Stretch in the Dillos. He's really cool too. Yeah,
Cool.
some good
That'll-
names, y'all.
That'll work. That's some good names. Yeah. some big names that we'll make an effort at. So we'll see if we can get them on here. But thank you very much for coming.
Absolutely, man.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so
This
much
is
for
very
everything.
cool. Making it out here late at
Fantastic
night,
evening.
8 o'clock. Hey there, Minnesota music family. If I haven't personally reached out to you yet, consider this your 100% official invitation to join me on the Minnesota Music Note. I'm Will McLeod, co-founder of the podcast crew here in beautiful Robbinsdale, host of the show, and the guy behind the kit for the band Hits and the Misses. I started this podcast because I want to get to know the people who make our scene tick. Whether you're fronting a band, spinning hip-hop, running sound, booking shows, running shows, or teaching the next generation of talent, your story belongs here. We've had everyone from videographers to festival organizers on the mic, and we're just getting started. It doesn't matter if you're playing arenas or just making magic in your basement. If you're part of the Minnesota music community, I want to chat. Slide into my DMs or hit the email below, and let's hang out and talk shop.